What's going on, guys? It's Mr. Deer here, back with another video, and I had to stand in today since Wyatt's a lazy bum and won't release anything.
Yo, what you got going on over here, man? I didn't even know you were here, bro. You recording a video, bro?
Obviously, I'm recording a video. What else would I be doing, bruh?
So you just gonna come in and, like, use my shit without saying nothing, huh?
Yes, I'm gonna record something since you're a bum and won't stop watching Nokotom.
So you're mad that I haven't put out another video, so you decided you were gonna make a video on your own anyways, huh?
Well, someone has to post to the channel.
That's not how that works.
You're a chud.
Yo, why's my future baby mama
watching the Biggie Fudge?
So if you couldn't tell from the intro or from what I'm wearing on my head right now, today we're going to be reviewing the anime My Dear Friend Nokotan. That song is great, man. Love that song. Yeah, yeah. Anyways, this anime is a comedy anime, not going to be nearly in-depth, nearly as serious as my last review, but it's one that I liked. I figured it was funny. I know it's pretty popular. Some of you guys out there might have seen it, so I said, why not? Might as well review it. Also, fun fact, Nokotan is the chick who's in my profile picture on YouTube and Instagram already, so you can kind of guess how I already feel about this show. The show sets up by introducing the main character, Toriko Koshi. She used to be a delinquent in middle school, but when she got to high school, she tried really hard to put up a facade that she was a good student. She became the student council president. She became a better person. She became really nice to everybody. And all of that was going just according to plan until we meet Shikanoko Noko. Shikanoko Noko, also known as Nokotan, gets her antlers stuck in the power lines and forces Toriko Koshi, also known as Koshitan, to save her and get her back on the ground. Little did Koshitan know that the person she just saved would end up being her new classmate and would sit right next to her in class. Now, when Koshitan first saved Nokotan, she kind of thought Nokotan was a little bit of a nut job and didn't really like her all that much, but when Nokotan sat next to Koshitan in class, her antler sensors went off and discovered that Koshitan was in fact a delinquent. Also, I don't really know how this relates to the story at all, but her sensors also detected that Koshitan was a virgin, and it was like a whole ordeal in the class. Everybody started chuckling and giggling because a high school kid was a virgin, so I mean, I guess that's cool. Now, because Koshitan had worked so hard to keep her delinquent life at past and to pretend to be this better student in high school, she obviously was threatened by how Nokotan found out that she used to be a delinquent and quickly brought her to another room. Once Koshitan finally gets Nokotan to this room, and after a little bit of a heated exchange, Nokotan finally just tells Koshitan that she's grateful for saving her from those power lines and that she will not call her the delinquent anymore and will call her Koshitan. So that might seem like the end of the story, but the show is 12 episodes, so obviously they had to extend it. Koshitan finds Nokotan cleaning out a storage closet, and because Koshitan wants to be a better person, she helps Nokotan clean out said closet. Once the closet is clean, the teacher comes around, congratulates Koshitan and Nokotan for doing such a good job in cleaning the closet, and then hands Nokotan a paper for the Deer Club and writes down Koshitan as the club president. Now, obviously, Koshitan didn't know that she was helping clean out the storage closet so they could use it as their room for the Deer Club, but she got persuaded into being the president because still wanted to be a good person and because of the funding that the club would receive. So now that the Deer Club is formed, this is basically the base of operations for all of the loony stuff that they're going to get into later in the show. Two characters do get added into the Deer Club, one of them being Anko, which happens to be Koshitan's sister, and one of them being Bashel, Bagel, I forget what her name is, I think it's Burger, maybe, I don't know. Meme Bashme. Meme Bashme. Anyways, those two characters do have their own little arcs of getting introduced to the club and, you know, a bunch of other stuff like that, like a bunch of other characters get introduced. But basically, after the first two episodes, the story kind of just gets off the wall, we'll say. Now, I know some of the people watching don't really like comedy anime just because they don't find it funny, they don't like the gags, and they don't like the repeated jokes, or, whatever the reason is, but for me, I enjoyed it. I'm not saying that it's a show that you gotta sit back on and reflect, and it's something deep that's got a crazy meaningful message, but it's something that you can put on at the end of the day when you come home, just relax and enjoy, have a good laugh before you go to bed for the night. I will say, however, that I think this comedy anime separates itself from the others basically just because it knows it's a gag show, and it knows what it's trying to do. There's like a narrator throughout it the whole time, and it literally says multiple times that, oh, good thing it's a gag show, or else that wouldn't make any sense. Some comedy shows try and mix in different genres, different things throughout the show to try and portray a deeper message, stuff like that, but not this one. And I think that's honestly why this one is a bunch better than a bunch of the other ones that I've seen. The show doesn't try and mix anything in there to grab more viewers' attention or anything like that, but what it does do is it gives you the best, just straight comedy anime that you could ask for. And that's something you gotta appreciate the show for, right? I feel like a bunch of shows nowadays will try and mix in a bunch of stuff just to get more viewers, just to, get their clicks up, and it ends up being not that great of a show. Not a lot of people nowadays are just focusing on their audience that they have directly, and I think that's something that, is really a lost art almost nowadays. One thing I will say, though, is that I did enjoy the development of Koshi-tan and Noka-tan's relationship throughout the show. It's nowhere near the main storyline or main plot point, but it is something that you get to see on the side, and it's nice to, still have characters that you can develop and attach to, and just enjoy whenever something good comes their way, right? And another thing is, just because it is a gag show, that doesn't mean that you as the viewer can't get attached to the characters in the show, because I definitely did. They played a clip at the end of episode 11 where it kind of faked you out and thought that, like, Noka-tan had disappeared and everybody had lost their memories. And I was upset, man. I thought that she had lost Noka-tan and everything was gone. And, obviously in episode 12 that didn't end up being the case, and ended up just being another gag that they pulled, but I really had some serious feelings for that moment right there. All in all, I think it's a fantastic show. I'm not saying it's going to be the next thing that you watch that makes you just like weep out of tears, but I am saying that, the show knows that your brain doesn't want to work most of the time, so it says, here, look at the funny deer, laugh, and enjoy what you see. Just because it's one of my favorites and I absolutely love the show doesn't mean that I'm going to recommend it to somebody who doesn't like comedy anime. I am going to say, though, that if you do like comedy anime, this is absolutely a show you should watch 100%. If you don't like comedy anime, I still think you maybe should at least give it a try, because this one separates itself from the rest, but at the end of the day, you might not like the jokes, you might not like the comedy. Can't really blame you for that one. Final ratings, once again, I'm going to have to give this show a 10 out of 10 on the Wyatt scale, just because it's one of my favorites. I really think the deer thing is funny, and I like deer. And I'm going to have to give it a 7 out of 10 on the everybody else scale, just because, it is a comedy anime at the end of the day. If you love comedy anime, you're going to love this one. If you don't love comedy anime, you're not going to like this one. But I do think it's better than the average comedy anime, or better than the average so that's why it's a 7 out of 10 and not a 5 out of 10. One thing I will say, as much as I love the show, and trust me, I love the show a lot. I think it's so funny. I think it's one of my favorite shows that I've seen. I like the intro song even more. I mean, it's one of the best intro songs that I've heard, right? Shika noko 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 koistan. I mean, that's something that's just going to stay with you for a very long time. So if you haven't watched the show, at least go do yourself a favor. Go listen to the intro song. Promise you won't regret it. Anyways, guys, thanks for sticking around and watching another Fudge review. Really appreciate it. I also appreciate all the love I've received over the past couple days, especially on Instagram. 4.6k views over the past 6 days or so. Just absolutely insane and absurd. Promise you, big things are coming. Both the last episode of Fire Force and Season 2 of Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten drops this Friday. absolutely going to be doing reviews about those. Still going to be doing a review about Mob Psycho, and I'm absolutely going to be doing a character breakdown about Rias Gremory. Have another extra little video planned in there as well with some of my friends that you guys might like to see. This video does not take away from the original recording schedule setup. This is just something to hold you guys over until those big videos comes out, and just because I really wanted to do a review on my dear friend Nokotan. I mean, I really enjoy the show. Once again, guys, thanks for supporting me. Thanks for everything. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you go follow me over on Instagram. And with all that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Future Wyatt here. One thing I just wanted to talk about, because I forgot to talk about it in the video, is the whole time while I was watching the show, I was wondering why the animation was just like insanely good. And then I looked at the credits, and it was animated by Wyatt Studio, who, if you don't know, are the same people who animated the first 3 seasons of Attack on Titan.